It's giving unbothered. It's giving buddy cop. It's giving enjoy your little parade. But when we show up, it's giving tanks, gas masks, batons, choppers, and trauma. Let's talk about how the police treat white-led protests like a block party, but black-led protests like a war zone. These hands-off protests was well needed, and thank you and kudos to everybody that showed up out there. But they were mostly white, and guess who else had hands off? The police. You had people marching in the streets, no permit, blocking traffic, and somehow no riot, no gear, no barricade, no helicopters overhead. It looked like a sponsored walk for yoga moms. Police were posted light, like security guards at a Sephora, okay? Standing back, arms crossed, no shield, no helmet. It's giving, let them have their moment, because whiteness ain't seen as a threat. It's seen as orderly expression. Now let's flip to 2020. Black Lives Matter. George Floyd. We protested peacefully. What did we get? Rubber bullets, tear gas, curfew, and a whole damn National Guard. That's what we got for protesting. They met us like we were the enemy of the state. They came ready for war, because when black people demand justice, the system hears it as a threat, not as a request. Let's be clear. It wasn't the message that brought the cops out during the George Floyd protest. It was the melanin. Same country, same constitution, two different police responses. You think it was a coincidence? Police don't see black protests as protests. They see it as provocation. They don't show up to de-escalate. They show up to dominate. And that's why so many black folks are sitting these new protests out, because we know how they treat us when we speak up. And we see how soft they go when y'all do it. It's giving immunity for some. It's giving war zone for others. But more importantly, it's giving news. Drop down the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I really need to hear from you. What do you think, either as a white protester or a black protester?
Dare I say it? I am grateful that Donald Trump won. Never did I think that these words would ever come across my lips. For the first time, I believe, in our history, there has been a movement in this country for the betterment of everyone that hasn't been led by black people. Dare I say this be the first time that we're not at the forefront. It had to happen this way, because if it didn't happen, there would have never been any change. Every single time that black people had to be the ones to force the change, nothing really changed, because we were the ones to force it. We changed their movements, not their mindset. So instead of blatantly being racist, they hid it under suits and policies. Trump versus Kamala makes so much sense now. Black people, I feel like we haven't been pissed off enough. And I think it's because they would give us little crumbs here. So when they would do something else, we'd be like, well, they gave us this. We had something to hold on to. I don't think that we've gotten pissed off enough to sit our asses down. A felon who was impeached twice, who has 34 or 35 felonies, was able to go up against a decorated prosecutor who was previously vice president and endorsed by our previous beloved president, Barack Obama. And she lost because she was a black woman against a rich white man. We needed a situation that pissed us off so bad that we said, fuck y'all. We're not helping with nothing. Y'all want change? You're going to have to do it. Because all these years, every other POC, and including underprivileged white people, they've all said that they had a problem and sat back and waited for us to resolve it while they reap the benefits of our hard work. They lose nothing and we sacrifice everything, and they get everything and we receive nothing. This needed to happen. Damn it. I am grateful. Dare I say it? I am grateful that Donald Trump won, because for once in our fucking lives, black people are not the ones putting our lives on the line and sacrificing everything to reap nothing, while everybody else reaps the rewards of our suffering and sacrifice. And also, while everybody is in despair, they're freaking out, they're losing their homes, they're losing their businesses, they're coming out of money, everybody else is in despair except for black people. We over here having parties. We're creating our own little education system online. We are doing everything to amplify black people joy and resting and rejuvenation and recovery, while everybody else is in despair. When has that ever happened? Just goes to show, when you think you lost the battle, when you really won the war.
To all my black people, women, men who voted for Donald Trump in this political climate, you're a damn fool. You see the man was no good and he didn't do nothing for you. Now you can't get a job and the stock market is going down and you're losing money. I told y'all, you should have went to school. See, you was hard-headed and made for a soft behind. You don't understand business. You don't understand politics. You are just dumb, deaf, and blind. I tried to tell y'all back in October and September and August and November to vote for Harris, but you wouldn't vote for a woman because your pride got in the way. Now you ain't making no money and you got wallows in your sorrow and you're giving a sob story. Don't you understand? The man never, ever, 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 ever was for you. He was always against you because you didn't make no money. You wasn't worth nothing then and you ain't worth nothing now. I know you don't want to hear this, but I had to come and gloat and tell you the truth. I told y'all it was going to happen. He was going to destroy America and cost your pocketbooks, but you didn't listen. So you're getting exactly what you deserve, a butt whooping. And understand, Donald Trump doesn't care about you, and this is going to continue because you're blind, baby. You're blind by the fact that you're blind.
So hello guys, how are you guys doing? So today we want to talk about this video that this lady have just posted, regarding the demonstrations that have been happening in actually the United States of America. So apparently this was all white affairs. I remember the whites actually, they were encouraging the blacks to actually sit down, not to appear on the planned demonstration that just happened a few days ago. So what we can really learn from this demonstration is that there are things that we usually see in the white, the black demonstrations that didn't actually happen in this white demonstration. We all know there are tear gas gangsters that they are thrown all over, the riots. You remember the Black Lives Matter demonstration that actually happened in back there. I think it was under Donald Trump's administration at that time. So people actually really faced their reaction, by being rounded up by helicopters, So let's go on a black movement. So this is usually focused on issues like racial justice, police brutality, or system inequality. A prominent example is the Black Lives Matter movement, which gained massive attraction after the event of where George Floyd Mayweather in 2022 was killed by a cop. So these demonstrations have often been characterized by large, diverse crowds advocating for structural change, And on the other hand, white-led demonstration could refer to protests primarily organized or driven by white individuals, such as protests such as certain conservative or counter-protests. Like in January 6, 2021, a Capitol riot, which was predominantly white and aimed at overturning the 2020 election results. So basically, you see here, it's like they wanted to overturn election results. So we all know that this white-led movement there, like the current one, is actually advocating against some of the Trump's policy. This surrounds like deportation. Some white farmers are actually crying out loud for heaven's sake. The deportation of these migrants, it means there are no people to work in their field back at home. There are no constructions worker, and we all know we want to see these white actually go to the field, go to the farm. I know they do, but I think it's not in that capacity, because if they usually do, we couldn't see where people were actually crying out, calling out Trump. I think there was a recent senator was showing how like his dairy farm, where majority of of people that work there were actually like migrants, and he was like, this farm is now affected, there are no things like this and that. Another thing I think that forced the demonstration is thanks job cuts, cut down of social security, cut down of DEI. Veterans that they are advocating for their their things, A black-led demonstration offers center in civil rights, equality, and opposition to the system racism. For instance, the Black Lives Matter in 2020 saw millions across the US demands police reform and accountability, with an estimated 15 to 16 million participants, making it one of the largest movements in US in history. So white-led demonstrations, this vary widely, but can be as Capitol riot, where participants sought to challenge a democratic process, or early events like the Tea Party rallies in the 2000s, focusing on taxations and government overreach. So I think this demonstration that happened recently is one of the biggest. People went to the street. The white went to the street to protest what is happening in the mighty United States of America. So it's high time. We all know, we all get to know, we all get support. But I thank God. I think when black they decided to keep quiet, to stay away. You saw the demonstration was just very calm, We all know, like in the case of 2020 Black Lives Matter demonstration, as there were research, they actually it shows that 93% of demonstrators, people went to the streets, were actually peaceful, Yet police used force in 51% of the cases that were discussed and researched. Police used tear gas, heavy force. Like the tear gas in Minneapolis, Kettling in New York. So historical parallels, like in 1965, there was a riot where 34 people died, and they were black. So, and usually a response to white demonstration, it usually varies, because like in the case of January 6, so delayed response, only 52 arrested day of despite breached barricades, versus 14,000 people arrested during Black Lives Matter peak. So we all know, I think from the historical data, we all saw that black-led demonstration tends to actually characterized by heavy presence of police and, and a lot of things, but it's high time people to impress, It's high time the American government